every other top 8 match for this tournament has gone to either Game 5 or Game 7. And if Reign wins this will be no exception. Now going into Cactus Valley, these last 2 maps, a lot of people say they favor Reign because it's a macro map, it's late game, it's 4 players, big map. Let's go into game number 6 and see if Reign can bring it to a Game 7.
게이머라면 당연한 목표, 트로피 키스.
Game 6. The top left in red, it's Reign for My Insanity.
Has to win this game or he's out of the tournament. Down here in the bottom right in the blue, CJ herO, match point. Looking so focused. People praying for him right now.
So, going into this one, bigger map. Cross spawns even.
Yep.
Reign could be happy these are the remaining maps based on his style.
Well, I mean, it seems like herO is really coming out ahead when it comes to the late game. To be honest, in those last 2 times, it really went late. We did see Reign take a bad fight in that, and in that last game, just not have the same kind of composition that herO did and could not really take a head-on fight. So I'm kind of favoring herO in this kind of map, surprisingly, just the way things have turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I would say based on this series alone, I would absolutely agree. Let's see if Reign can kind of try to forget some of those poor engagements he's taken in this series and just try to take these last 2 games almost as if they're a clean slate that he's going into.
Yeah, he's just going to have to do that. You know, 2 wins in a row is all he needs. Not impossible, that's for sure. Cannot afford to make any mistakes anymore there.
Now, both of these last 2 maps have a ton of DT potential. herO, also known for his Dark Templar players, our cosplay girl again. Looking great, as usual.
Yeah. Are they both cosplayers?
I would assume so, considering that they have very similar style, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I only know one of them, so.
I've seen her play Kerrigan before, I think.
I've seen Kerrigan, I've also seen Nova.
Okay.
She's done both.
That's cool.
But, you know, herO known for Dark Templar play more than Reign. We even had one of our fan drawings up on screen earlier talking about herO being like one of the masters of DTs in this matchup. But these 2 actually, for those of you who don't remember, played against each other in the final game of the Grand Playoffs last year in Pro League to decide whether or not CJ or SKT would be fighting KT in the Grand Finals. And obviously, Reign won, barely. And so we had an SKT versus KT Finals.
Yeah, bit of history there.
Yeah.
Your daddy hasn't forgot about that one.
Very important match.
Here we're taking a much more greedy approach to the start of this game, scouting with his Stalker and Mothership Core instead of a Probe. Adding that second gateway as well behind that Twilight.
Even a third.
Yeah, so similar opening to last game, where on the other hand, Reign going for that greed, adding a very early Nexus.
This is what Reign is known for, and no nerves are going to stop him from playing greedy on this big map.
Yeah, well, let's see if herO can do some damage with his Blinkstalker opening. You know, he's going to have a lot more ability to poke, try and do the damage. We do see that Robo on the way for Reign as well, so he's going to try and crank out those Immortals before the pressure comes. Seen this dance a lot of times before, where someone opens Blinkstalker against this late Immortal opening with the earlier Nexus.
That's just simply put an insanely greedy opening. It's my favorite PvP opening. You know, on the ladder, if you can scout what your opponent's doing and you hold, you almost win 100% of the time because you get so far ahead of it. This map is somewhat of an exception, of course, at cross spawns, because even if you get ahead in PvP on this big of a map, obviously your opponent has a lot of time to be greedy counter-wise and catch up.
That's right.
But obviously, if he holds this, he's going to have a pretty significant lead.
Yeah, in terms of composition as well as economy.
Yes.
Economically. That's how I like to say it. Well, let's have a look. Blink finishing up here. There's no real pressure on the map. We are seeing a pylon go down there, not too far away.
Yeah. His first Immortal is about to pop. He needs warp gates, to drop a few more stalkers as well.
Nice block.
That's safety versus DTs right there. Covering all of his bases here.
Well, Probe sees the natural. Don't think he saw that Immortal there.
One of the scary things for herO is he doesn't know what tech he's up against. So he sees this Oracle and he's like, well, I have to take this seriously. He doesn't know if it's fake or not. He has no idea. He just sees it flying across the map. He's like, well, I'm going to go intercept this. Too bad it's a hallucination, but he won't know until the first shot connects, in fact, that is a hallucination. Now he knows. He's like, oh, okay.
He's
going to even blink. Yeah.
Still smart. Deny as much information as you can all game long.
Now, this is really cool. I really like the Forge. He's really pushing that out super early. He knows he's going to be behind in Immortals. He knows his tech is behind. His Nexus is slightly behind. But this is one thing you can do greedy at cross spawns like this to catch up.
Yeah, if you keep denying this kind of scouting as well, you're in such a great place to get away with it. You're not going to be punished anytime soon. Not in a map this big, and especially in these positions cross map.
He's making the Blink useful despite the fact that its original purpose was denied, because he can use it to deny these hallucinations, as you said. In this case, it looks like finally one will get into the main.
Ooh, Warp Prism as well on the way for herO. I do like this once again. Did so much damage last game. It really gave him such an edge in that mid to late game.
The Bay is nearly complete here. It's going to start a Colossus very soon. Now, the big next question is, when does Rain add a third base? He's probably going to be the one to do so first. How greedy is he with that?
Yeah, it's kind of a risk, but shouldn't be too far away at this point. I think both sides they've scattered each other enough. They're like, okay, this is going to 3 bases. There's no real pressure on the map. No one's going for some sort of 2-base all-in or anything like that. This Warp Prism is going to give herO all the breathing room he needs to take that 3rd base. And on the other side, these hallucination scouts are kind of scouting out the army and the production infrastructure. Rain knows that he's pretty safe at this point.
4 more gates being added puts him at 6 gates in total. With 6 gates, probably going to be a 3rd base. If he adds any more, it could be a Colossus range timing attack. Still could be potentially, but not as all in, right? It could just be like a really big pressure.
Yeah, we should see similar. Mistake there. Similar kind of a build from Rain last game, where he just added multiple gateways before committing to a 3rd base. Just wanted to make sure he had the production out.
1 photon cannon will definitely help versus Zealot harass with that Warp Prism, but ideally would like to have a 2nd one at the natural as well. Still does not see this Warp Prism. Extra gates now being added for herO, who's still slightly ahead when it comes to the 3rd Nexus production, and significantly ahead of the +2.
Well, look at this. Warp Prism going to let these Stalkers warp into the main, or jump into the main base and work on this cannon. All right, just probes.
Yeah, just going to target probes instead. Blink, pick up, get out of there. It's a tough map to use Blink Stalkers effectively on, but with this Warp Prism, it definitely becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, the later this game goes, the more redundant they get for sure. I think Blink Stalkers get the most redundant in PvP out of all the matchups.
Would have to agree. Just the longer the game goes, they just don't add much because they can't tank for Colossi. They could pick Colossi off, but in the late game, if you blink into that, you're
losing them all.
Sacrificing, yeah.
Yeah. Charge lot's much better. Much better worth of supply.
I feel like if you had a computer program, like an Automaton 2000 type, team-assisted sort of, or what's it called?
Look at
TAS.
this. Oh, it's going to work on this Colossus. Maybe he can take it down.
He's got +1.
There's nothing here to help it out except for this photon overcharge. If that wasn't there, maybe he could have taken it down. That would have been crazy.
But if you had like a TAS group of Blink Stalkers in late game, I feel like they could do something, but just the human control in those big fights is never going to be enough.
I don't know. I feel like they just simply can't do anything. They're good at this early in the game when there's not much, but when you got that many Colossus Immortal, charge lots just jumping on top of them, they just explode, and they do such little damage to Zealots as well.
Yeah, that's another one of the problems is they do bonus damage to armored units, which, unless your opponent is also making Stalkers, is going to be very useless. +2 and charge finishing up for herO right now. That charge and the +2 both going to help out this Zealot drop here, going to make it a lot more potent. Second Photon Cannon is not ready. He's got a few Stalkers here, but he's definitely going to have to do a defensive Warp in order to defend this. Looks like he wants to target the Warp Prism instead.
Not even going to kill it, unfortunately. So nice little bit of disruption there. Same time, a run by.
Yeah, notice how difficult it is for Rain to find damage here. Zealots don't have charge. He doesn't have a Warp Prism, so these Zealot run-bys definitely not as effective. And the Dark Shrine comes down now for herO, as well as the +3. The first time we see +3 research this early in this series.
Yeah, very quickly, just taking full advantage of the map, pretty much. You know, it's so much space on this map. He knows where Rain is. He can just take this chance, you know, just invest heavily in the upgrades and the late game sort of advantages that are going to pull him ahead. He's still catching up in a Colossus count right now, and in Archon count, so it's kind of switched sides to last game. He's playing catch-up in terms of that composition.
Sure. You know, it's funny. We talked about this earlier, but when you're ahead slightly, like Rain's been this entire game, it's hard to capitalize on it on this map across spawns. Are you going to walk all the way across the map? That time it takes will allow herO to equalize where you are in Colossi.
Well, here we go. Rain positioning around the map. He's going to be looking for attack or just simply applying pressure and taking the middle of the map.
Looks like he's just going to do the latter. And the Dark Shrine plus the Warp Prism could be a disaster should that Photon Cannon in the main base fall. He doesn't have any detection. In fact, can you check how many observers Rain has? Because I'm really curious at this point.
He currently has 1.
Okay. And that's with his main army. So these Photon Cannons are very important right now.
We do see double Robo as well. He's pumping out a lot of Colossus, which is going to give him an edge going up to this late game.
2 Zealots, 2 DTs, 3 Photon Cannons in the main. It looks like that's going to be the target drop location. Only 1 Photon Cannon at natural. He's trying to spot this army, sees it's out of position. Okay, he's going to try to draw units in the main with this drop and then hit the third. A smart plan, but with those 3 Photon Cannons, it doesn't seem to look like it's going to be successful. +3 is nearly finished for this attack for herO as well.
Is he really going to commit to it, or is he simply just doing what Rain did and position in the middle of the map and try and distract? Moving up towards the third base. Got to be so careful there.
Oh, man.
Cannot lose his Mothership core like he tried this last time.
Yeah, if the angle is more important than the attack upgrade advantage, and if he fights into a bad location, it's not going to work. Warp Prism going to the main currently. 3 Photon Cannons, though, easily going to be a deny. Uses a Time Warp defensively to escape. Big Warp into Zealots, though. Could he get the Photon Cannons?
Oh, he loses it. Oh, my God.
Well, DT goes down as well, so this is going to be an easy cleanup. He's going to replace those cannons.
Look at the supply difference right now. 40 supply lead for Rain after all that, but a bit of a bank for herO. He's got to start investing. He's got to be so careful, because if Rain moved across the map right now,
he would die.
He would die.
Even without the +3. The Colossus numbers, the positioning, those 2 things are more important. Obviously, if everything is perfect, the player with the +3 is going to win.
Yeah, well, 4th bases are being invested in. Rain moving across the map once again. herO is catching up in supply, but still got a little bit of work to be done. 30 supply down now.
Yeah. It's a lot of the money he's spending, a lot of his warp-ins he's spending at that Warp Prism instead of with his army. This is not going to be the location Rain wants to attack, though. Yeah, he's going to try to work at these rocks and find another angle at that 4th base. Taking a 4th base is almost always a mistake in PvP, but we'll see if herO can actually hold on to this.
Ooh, a lot of Zealots coming around the left side there. We're seeing more DTs being invested in as well, but they are going to be Archons by the end of all things.
This is a great angle for Rain. You know, he's going to come over here with this ranged composition, find some damage, and then harass on the left side. Doesn't want to take a big fight. Look at that. He's just going to zone with a Time Warp.
Yeah, and here's going to be careful not to go through that, because it's going to be such a bad place for him to fight.
Zealots coming in here in the main base, saves the Warp Prism, but those Zealot Warp-ins he used to defend are not going to be here when a huge group of Zealots comes over now to attack these cannons. He's got a wall in, but the Zealots are starting to get on top of the probes now.
DT as well, also going to be working on those Zealots, so it should be a pretty cheap cleanup as long as he doesn't lose too many probes. This is the other big thing, though, to note. 4 DTs on that 4th base of Rain. It's going down.
Yep, +3 DT is going to kill that easy peasy. But the worker counts here still remain relatively even. A slight lead for Rain as he goes for another drop in the main base. This time, no units to defend.
Supply lead now for herO, mind you. And that 1-up base. This might actually force Rain's hand once again and put him in a very awkward place.
Tempest transition coming up here. This is going to be one of those supreme late game PvPs. And here comes the Warp Prism, and he does move Zealots into position, and a drop here will fail.
Completely.
Down goes the Warp Prism.
Yep.
More important than losing the Zealots inside it is that he loses his potential for harass now.
That's right.
Look at that Observer.
Ooh.
One more shot.
Got it.
Nice.
All
So
right.
glad you got that Observing PC.
Well, look at this. Here comes the next problem. Looks like Rain's going to go for a very efficient counterattack here.
Oh, he's going to go for the feedback. Not going to happen.
Looked for it. That would have really changed things up.
Okay, this is a smart move, but if he overcommits here, it's going to be a problem. He needs to recall as soon as that Nexus is down.
Tempo
Could try to fight at the bottom of the ramp, too. Wouldn't be a terrible choice. I like a recall better here, though, and there it is.
All right. Looks like he will get out. Not taking too much damage. Is this going to be a counterattack from herO at this point, seeing he lost that base?
But herO is behind in tech. If he doesn't if he lets this, Tempest transition, you even have a mothership core, or rather a mothership on the way for cloaking. 5 observers on the map for Rain, 1 for herO. He's actually making more now just for safety, but
well, hero's got that window of opportunity, and that window is now. If he goes for a base kill, if he goes for a good fight while this transition is happening, maybe he gets ahead.
I think Rain
too long.
I think Rain just lets this go. He might try to poke at some of those units, but I don't think he wants to take a bad fight here.
You need to see herO spread out here. If he wants to go for the fight, he wants to. He's trading.
Immortals here at the front. Meanwhile, the third base is also under attack by quite a few Zealots, but it means they're missing from the other side. Yeah, if he gets this base, that's huge. It was such a great move here to pull the army away, kill another Nexus.
Yeah,
that's like the third Nexus he's killed this game.
Yeah, he scouts the Tempest as well. Tempest is starting to shoot at them, so he knows what's on the map. And he's like, okay, I understand your composition right now. Does that mean herO has to go for the kill, or does he transition himself?
That's the good question. A lot of players would go for the kill here, feeling like they're on a clock. He's adding more Stalkers into his composition.
Can he really fight?
Oh, wow, those Tempests are out of position, and Rain has to go on move command here. There's a good arc for some of these units, and he gets on top of those Tempests. The Mothership is out of position here, but Rain with the much better Colossus count here, the much better spread.
Oh, man, that Mothership coming in at the right time. Still observers available.
And look at that. The Tempest doing so much damage from behind, and Rain is going to force a Game 7. A panicked engagement here from herO as he saw the Tempest transition. Instead of transitioning himself with his massive bank, 1,500, 2,300, he decides to go for a bad fight. And now surviving the next step of this game is going to be virtually impossible. With more and more Tempests available to warp in, he can remax his Colossi. He's going to have 4 bases to herO's now. He has 4 as well, but he doesn't have enough units to survive possible follow-up attacks. Going into DTs here, trying to snipe the observers.
Yeah, well, very ambitious play right now. I think that might be game. He's not going to find anything here.
GG! We're going to Game 7. As said before, the only series in top 8 that did not go to Game 7 was Rain versus Rogue. Every other one, Rogue versus Innovation, went to Game 5. Rogue versus TY went to Game 7. Myungsik versus herO went to Game 7. And now, Rain versus herO, Game 7.
That's right. Very intense match here. Big talking to. Rain made the right transition there, forced serious hand, and did not find that favorable fight.
A Grand Finals, the first StarCraft 2 Star League Finals in years. Actually, that's not true. There was, it's going to be the first one in years. The Season 2 was supposed to be at an offline venue, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the first Star League Finals in years with a live audience, a big crowd at an actual offline event. This is a big deal. This is important for everybody. There's so much on the stake, on the line here. I'm like getting too excited.
Yeah, calm down, Wolf, calm down. Well, it's all going to be ending up on Iron Fortress as game number 7. So, not the map I'm sure they wanted to play on. That's why it is the last map.